illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
On the point of order.
Honorable They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Good day, viewers, and welcome to another episode of Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network here in the city of Port Harcourt. News, events, and stories abound in the state system. ATN's appetite for in-depth, unbiased, and factual reportage is the driving principle for this program in order to bring government activities to the doorstep of the people. Let's go through the highlights of today's report. In Rivers State, police dismiss officer over extortion. In Bayelsa State, Governor Diri is sworn in for the second term. In Taraba State, Christian Association of Nigeria tenders apology over involvement in politics. On Emefiele, federal government asks Interpol to place 3 Nigerians on watch list. We'll take a very short break, and when we return, we go straight to the details. Please stay tuned.
people into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
On the point of order.
Honorable
On the point of
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no
agreement
with the EU, but
Welcome back, and now we dive into the details for today. Police Command in Rivers State has dismissed one Inspector Michael Ode accused of a kidnapping and extortion of $3,000 from 2 persons at gunpoint in Rivers State. The files of 2 other officers, ASP Dobra Edonyabo and ASP Talent Mungo, who were allegedly involved in the incidents, have been forwarded to the police headquarters for review. The command spokesperson, SP Grace Iringe Koko, confirmed the developments in a statement issued in Port Harcourt on Wednesday. Similarly, Donyabo and Mungo have been queried and recommended for dismissal in compliance with established protocols and procedures. Iringe Koko stated that the recommendation has been forwarded to the Secretary to the Nigerian Police Force for necessary action. The command therefore encourages residents to report any misconduct by law enforcement agents promptly, as any officer involved in misconduct will be met with appropriate actions for fairness and justice. Ishopo community in the Ikwere local government area of Rivers State has declared its intent to employ its age-old tradition of investigating deaths to unravel the circumstances surrounding the helicopter crash that tragically claimed the lives of Habat Wigwe, his wife, and one of their children. Ishopo's traditional leadership body made this announcement on Wednesday during a procession marking the commencement of an 8-day mourning period declared in honor of the late Chief Executive Officer of Access Holdings. A visit to the community by our correspondent on Wednesday revealed that the residents of this ancient kingdom had shuttered the markets, shops, and all other business establishments as a mark of respect for Wigwe, whom they fondly remembered as a remarkable and benevolent individual. The entire busy roads in Ishopo were deserted as they only witnessed skeletal vehicular movement, mainly by persons who came from outside the community to participate in the procession. Elderly men and women Children, youths, indigents and non-indigents trooped out en masse to walk the major road in Ishokbo chanting sorrowful songs and lamenting the untimely passage of their benefactor. Black was the color of the day as residents who either partook in the procession or sat outside their houses wore black outfits or any attire with a touch of black. All processions ended at the palace of the traditional ruler of Ishokbo, His Royal Majesty, King Blessing Wago, who was seated with his council of chiefs to receive the mourners. King Blessing described Wigwe as a special man to the community, saying that he was championing the development of Ishokbo before his shocking demise. He said Wigwe fulfilled many promises he made to the community, but lamented that the community was expecting the actualization of many other life-changing promises he made to the people before his untimely death. The governor of Rivers State, Sir Siminalaye Fubara, attended the inauguration ceremony and swearing in of Bayelsa State Governor Senator Doye Diri and his deputy Senator Lawrence Rujakbo for a second term. Vice President of Liberia, Jeremiah Kwong, also graced the event. The ceremony, which took place at the Samson Siasa Sports Complex in Yenagoa Town on Wednesday, also had in attendance the Vice President of Nigeria, Kassim Shettima, former Presidents Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, alongside his wife, Dame Patience Jonathan. Also in attendance was Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State, Governor Umar Basieno of Akwa Ibom State, and Governor Sheriff Oboriwori of Delta State. Also, Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State. Others were Governor Mohammed Bago of Niger State, Governor Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak of Kwara State, Governor Caleb Mufwang of Plateau State, PDP BOT Chairman Senator Adolfo Swabara, and former Senate President Bukola Saraki, amongst others. Bayelsa State Governor Doye Diri takes his oath of office for a second term at Samson Siasa Stadium in Yenagoa. Bayelsa State Governor was sworn in for a second term in office. He took his oath of office on Wednesday at the Samson Siasa Sports Complex in Yenagoa, state capital. Both Diri and his deputy Lawrence Rujakbo took their oath of office administered by the State Chief Judge, Justice Matilda Ayemieye. Dignitaries that graced the occasion included Vice President Kassim Shettima and former Presidents Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan. Others were the Vice President of Liberia, Jeremiah Kwong. Governors in attendance were Sheyi Makinde, Caleb Mufwang, Muhammad Bago, Ademola Adeleke, Godwin Obaseki, Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak, Amadu Fintiri, Sheriff Oboriwori, Siminalaye Fubara, Emo Eno, Hyacinth Afia, and Oba Sani. Former Senate Presidents Bukola Saraki and Adolfo Swabara, who is now the BOT Chairman of PDP, were also present, as well as other national and state leaders of the party also graced the event. They polled a total of 175,196 votes to defeat his main rival, Timipri Silva of the All Progressive Congress. There's more news, but don't forget you can connect with us and watch us on our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, on X, formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net, and watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. And to the next story on Delta State, the police command on Wednesday announced the arrest of 9 Delta youths for allegedly attacking its officers and destroying the vehicle of the force. The state public relations officer, Bright Edafe, disclosed this via his X handle, adding that the head of one of its officers was broken in the attack. Explaining the incidents, Edafe stated that the officers of the force from Ugeli Area Command intercepted an unregistered Benz GLK without a plate number in the Ekwibo community on Tuesday and engaged 4 individuals who could not provide proof of owning the vehicle. According to the PPRO, in an attempt to arrest them, some of the youths attacked the police, destroying their vehicle and broke the head of one of the officers. He added that 9 of the suspects were arrested and will be charged to court. Youths are advised to stay off any protest because it won't deter us from doing our job. This came following an ongoing protest in Nogeli community area of the state. The youth of the community were reported to have staged the protest over police brutality. Suspected cultists were killed by a mob. The mob accused him and 3 others of being involved in killing of Daniel Okon, a final-year computer science student at the University of Uyo. The suspects were allegedly behind a door-to-door robbery in Idak Opo Itam in Itu local government area, which resulted in Okon's death. Okon from Oron local government area was visiting his girlfriend at his apartment at 13 Ipa Lane when the robbers attacked earlier Sunday. Reacting on Atlantic Television Society Watch, a public affairs analyst, Wealth Oduyemi, maintained that the distrust in the justice system of Nigeria has led people into taking laws into their hands. Speaking further, he stated that the masses are not being well informed of the consequences of their actions. On to the next story. Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission on Wednesday closed its case against Professor Cyril Ndifon, the suspended Dean of Faculty of Law, University of Calabar, and his co-defendant, Sonny Anyao. ICPC's counsel, Osuebeni Akponisinya, told Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja, that the commission has closed its case after Bwaigu Fungo, the 4th prosecution witness, a forensic and intelligence analyst, was cross-examined by the defense lawyer Joe Agi. Akponomini Singh had earlier informed the court that the Anti-Corruption Commission had about 7 witnesses and also planned to amend the charge to increase the witness number, improving the case against the defendants. Ndifon was on January 25th rearranged alongside Anyao as first and second defendants on an amended 4-count charge bordering on alleged sexual assault and harassment and attempts to perverse the course of justice. Anyao, who is one of the lawyers in the defense team, was joined in the amended charge filed on January 22nd by the ICPC following allegations that he called one of the prosecution witnesses on her mobile telephone during the pendency of the charge against Ndifon to threaten her. The accused persons, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges. Justice Omotosho had on Friday granted bail to Ndifon and Anyao in the sum of 250 million naira and 50 million naira respectively, with 2 sureties each in like sum. Upon resumption of the trial on Wednesday, Fungo's cross-examination continued. Justice Omotosho consequently adjourned the matter until February 27 to hear the defendant's no-case submission. Ikeja Chief Magistrate Court on Wednesday ordered the remand of a 30-year-old man, Moses Oriyomi, for alleged police possession of a locally made gun and belonging to a secret society. Chief Magistrate Mrs. O.A. Udubayo ordered the defendant to be remanded in Kirikiri Correctional Center until March 26 for the Director of Public Prosecution's advice. Odutaya refused to listen to the defendant's plea. The prosecutor, DSP Clara Olagbayi, told the court that the defendant, an unemployed man who resides at the Maza area of Lagos, committed the offenses at Fashiru Street, Maza. Olagbayi said that the police got information about the hideout of those terrorizing the community, and on getting there, they apprehended the defendants, while the prosecutor said many firearms were found at the scene, while a locally made fabricated pistol was found in the defendant's pocket she could not account for. Olagbayi said that the defendants confessed to belonging to a secret society called Eye Confraternity. The offenses contravene sections 227 and 297 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State, 2015. Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2, Olatoye Durosimi, has warned officers and men in the zone of extortion and indiscipline. This is contained in a statement issued by the Zonal Public Relations Officer, SP Tumi Ayuba, on Wednesday in Lagos. Ayuba said Durosimi gave the warning at his maiden meeting with the officers and men of the command at Onikon, Lagos. Durosimi, who frowned at the reports of extortion and unprofessional conduct from his men, warned that erring officers will not be spared. from the wrath of the law. Will be driven by technology in policing the two states with a view to curb crime and criminality on the highways of Lagos and Ogun. The AIG emphasized the need to work in relevant stakeholders to ensure a safe environment for members of the public. Durosimi advised officers and men to always imbibe the professionalism in discharge of their statutory duties. He said that the police security, being mindful of the effect of their actions or inactions on their children, relatives, loved ones, and the general public. The police boss, who reiterated his commitment to fighting crime, enjoined members of the public to always cooperate with the police in the fight against insecurity. He urged them to always provide relevant information to support to the police where necessary. Newly appointed Commissioner of Police in Adamawa State, CP Dankombo Maurice Follins, has assumed. Dankombo Follins officially took over from his predecessor on Wednesday, pledging to place emphasis on community policing as a modern approach to security. Dankombo, the second police commissioner, taking over from Afolabo Babalola, who was recently promoted to the rank of Assistant Inspector General of Police, AIG. In his takeover speech, the new Adamawa State Police Commissioner was to deal firmly with all acts of criminality, ranging from kidnapping, the menace of the Sheila boys, cattle rustling to armed robbery. He added that under him, corruption under whatsoever guise would not be condoned from any police personnel. You have been watching Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this short break. Don't move a muscle.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
On the point of order.
Honorable
On the point
they are not cause they made up their mind.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the
I have fought a very family. Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
people into the country illegally. That is amazing. You human trafficker.
Honorable
You are a human.
They are not picking our calls.
Welcome back to Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network here in the city of Port Harcourt. Now to the rest of our stories. Chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in Taraba State, Isaiah G, has apologized for the recent controversies surrounding the organization's involvement in politics. The public apology was contained in a statement made available to journalists in Jalingo, the state capital, on Wednesday, acknowledging the confusion that arose from Khan's communication, especially concerning the candidacy of the Social Democratic Party, Innocent Umaru Jabanya, for Jalingo Yoro Zing Federal Constituency. Magaji issued a formal public apology to both the church and the public. Magaji clarified that Khan's role as the political arm of the church emphasized its duty to unite churches, promote mutual respect among direction when necessary. He also assured the Christian community of Khan's continued focus on the interests of the church and reiterated the organization's commitment to unity. Regarding the SDP candidate, he emphasized that Khan had extended an appeal to him to step down from his candidacy to foster unity. Calling for peace and unity among Christians, Magaji urged voters to participate in ongoing supplementary elections peacefully and wisely. The statement comes amidst heightened tensions and political activities in Taraba State. Troops of Operation Safe Haven under Hakon Damisa 4 have discovered a weapon fabrication factory in Pakachi village, Mangu local government area of Plateau State. Nigerian Army headquarters disclosed this in a post on its on Wednesday. The post stated that the development followed clearance operations on the rugged mountains mountainous in the area. During the operation, the Army said some related equipment were recovered, while one suspect was apprehended. Items recovered from the facilities include 5 AK-47 rifles, 4 AK-47 magazines, 11 rounds of 7.62 mm ammunition, 5 rounds of 9 mm ammunition, 21 Dane guns, 4 revolver rifles, 11 pistols and 5 magazines, 17 gun barrels, 6 rounds of 0.44-inch ammunition, of a carbide cylinder with accessories. The post said that the suspect, Plangi, along with recovered rifles and other items, are currently in the custody of the troops for further investigation. The General of Police in charge of Zone 14, AIG Yahaya Shayabo Abubakar, said that the Nigerian police force will establish special intervention to the prevailing security challenges in Kaduna State and its environs. AIG Yahaya says Kaduna State happens to be the center of gravity in northern Nigeria, and due to its closeness to the Federal Capital Territory makes it strategic. He said that the Nigerian police force led by Kayode Egbetokun is putting on strategic measures to protect lives and properties in the country. In his address, the Commissioner Ali Audu says in the last 1 month, the police have apprehended criminals in the command. He, however, emphasized that the police force will not rest until all forms of armed banditry, kidnapping, and comes to an end.
Important to the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun. It is an issue of most serious concern to him. He's been lamenting about it all the time, and he's making a concerted effort to ensure that the normalcy is being restored in Kaduna State. As you all know, Kaduna State happens to be center of gravity in northern Nigeria. Also, close to the FCT, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And proximity of the city and the state to the FCT makes it very rich. And that it is our responsibility to make sure that it is safe and secure, just so as to make the FCT safe and secure. A safer Kaduna means a safer FCT. We also know that Kaduna has a very important railway terminus. It is located in the heart of the city. And this railway terminus is a very vital artery of communication that links the state or the Kaduna city itself with the FCT.
Making deployments, we are now witnessing a steady decrease of criminal activities in the state. We will never relent until safety of lives and properties are guaranteed. In the last 1 month, the command rescued 18 kidnapped victims, 16 kidnappers, suspects arrested, 19 armed robbery suspects arrested, 22 murder suspects arrested, and recovered 4 arms and 203 live ammunition, including 2,300,000 monetary exhibit obtained as ransom from a kidnapper. Our push forward towards eliminating these criminal elements in the state will not stop until peace returns to our communities.
Kaduna State Independent Electoral Commission announced that the state's next local government council elections will be held on Saturday, February 15, 2025. This marks the official start of the electoral processes with a notice period of 365 days as stipulated by law. The chairman of KTSIEC, Lawal Al-Hassan Faskari, addressed the media at the press briefing, highlighting key details about the upcoming elections. He said interested candidates from registered political parties are encouraged to participate, provided that they meet the requirements outlined in the upcoming guidelines. Those guidelines, along with the official timetable, will be distributed to all stakeholders in due course, the chairman noted. The announcement comes amidst calls for increased security during the election process, particularly in areas facing security challenges. The Commission urged cooperation from security agencies to ensure a peaceful and transparent election. Additionally, a strong emphasis was placed on peaceful participation from citizens, urging them to shun violence and actively engage in the democratic process. Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State and the West African Examination Council has agreed on a payment plan to offset the 1.4 billion naira examination fees owed by the previous administrations in the state. The governor also secured the release of WAEC results of Zamfara secondary school students that were withheld. WAEC withheld the students' results over non-payment of 1.4 billion naira examination fees owed by the state government. A statement issued by the spokesperson of Zamfara Governor Suleiman Bala Idris said that the governor met with the leadership of the council at his Abuja office. According to the statement, the WAEC delegation was led by the chairman of the Administrative and Finance Committee, Hajia Binta Abdul Kadir, and the head of the National Office of WAEC Nigeria, Dr. Amos J. Dagwil. The statement added that an agreement has been reached between the Zamfara state government and WAEC on how to go about resolving the issue. Also present at the meeting were the senior officials of WAEC Nigeria, including Ambrose Okelozo, the zonal coordinator, Victor C. Odu, the director of finance, and Shegun U. Jerume, the deputy director. The Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has placed a 20 million naira bounty on any criminal caught in the FCT Wike made this declaration during a parade of the suspects of the kidnappings, one chance and other criminalities by the FCT Police Command in Abuja. He explained that on no account should any criminality persist in Abuja, stating that in a couple of days, the police and other security agencies will receive more communication gadgets for intelligence gathering and other equipment needed to carry out their duties effectively. According to reports over the last 3 years, close to 50 kidnap cases have been reported in Abuja and recorded, involving over 200 individuals. Last month, the Federal Capital Territory Commissioner for Public Complaints, Dalhatu Ezekiel, asked the federal government to prioritize the area security situation and immediately declare a state of emergency. He had also called on the FCT Minister Wike to suspend all projects currently ongoing, if need be, to address this pertinent issue that involves the life of FCT residents. President Bola Tinubu will depart Abuja on Thursday for Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to participate in the 37th Ordinary Section of the Assembly of African Union Heads of States and Government. This was disclosed in a statement on Wednesday by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale. He said that Tinubu would join other African leaders in high-level meetings on institutional reforms of the African Union, peace and security, specific thematic issues such as climate change, as well as modalities of participation and priorities of the continental body in the G20. According to the presidential spokesperson, the theme of the year's summit is Educate an African Fit for the 21st Century, building resilient educational systems for increased access to inclusive, lifelong, quality and relevant learning in Africa. Tinubu will also attend an extraordinary summit of the Authority of Heads of States and Government of the Economic Community of West African States in his capacity as the chairman of the regional body. The president will be accompanied on the trip by some ministers and other top government officials. He is expected to return to Abuja after the summit. The federal government announces plans to establish a national commodity body among steps to solve the escalating food inflation in Nigeria. Vice President Kashim Shettima on Tuesday at a two-day high-level strategic meeting on climate change, food systems and resource mobilization held in Abuja said, and reacting on Atlantic Television blowout, a public affairs analyst, Benjamin Chibu, expressed concern regarding the government's decision to establish a national commodity board, stating that it will be difficult for the government to regulate the prices of goods in the market.
I was just trying to wrap my head around how the government will be able to muster the energy or flow or regulate prices of food in Nigeria, considering that to a large extent, one, most of the businesses generate income for another expenditure, and what you find is someone who's selling maize, for instance, buys maize, even if he buys it at a very reduced price from a government, they're going to have their own government store or anything. Let me say, you buy from a government store. Now, your rent is increased, transportation is increased, electricity is increased, pump price is increased for sure, everything around you is increased. Of course, the profits for which you are going to take care of all of that needs will now be built right inside that maize you bought. And so regulating that price will be very, very Herculean. It will be very Herculean. I don't even know from what point the government is going to start this. For me, it looks very, very unrealistic, because we know the first, we know where and what started this right. And of course, all we need to do is to look at where and what started this right and fight that point. So all the other things we are doing is just cosmetic. We're just trying to make it
House of Representatives has urged the federal government to ban the production, importation, distribution, and use of styrofoam and single-use plastics throughout Nigeria. It also urged the federal government to implement a phased approach to the ban by providing sufficient time for businesses and industries to transition to alternative eco-friendly materials and practices. Consequently, the lawmakers urged the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission and other relevant agencies to monitor the quality of packaging of foods and beverages, particularly in the fast-moving consumer goods, ensuring global best practices are followed and all appropriate regulations guiding the whole process are adhered to. These resolutions follow the adoption of a motion on the need to ban the use and distribution of styrofoam and single-use plastic across the country, moved by Honorable Mukhtar Shagaya at the plenary on Wednesday. Shagaya, while presenting the motion, noted that the provisions of Section 20 of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, places a responsibility on the federal government to protect and improve the environment for present and future generations and ensure the health and well-being of its citizens. He further noted that the increasing use of styrofoam and single-use plastic in Nigeria poses significant environmental and public health risks, including pollution of waterways, soil and air quality, and the House, however, mandated its committees on healthcare, services, environment and legislative compliance to ensure compliance. A bill proposing the transition from the presidential system to a parliamentary system of government has been presented for first reading in the House of Representatives. Briefing newsmen on the proposed legislation, which is awaiting second reading, the lawmakers supported their argument by pointing out that the flexibility of the operation of the parliamentary system of government, which was adopted by founding fathers of Nigeria, which fundamentally promoted the peace, unity and prosperity of the country as observed in the 6 years it was practiced between 1960 to 1966. The bill proposes a transition period of 2031 as ideal to enable Nigerians make inputs to the bill.
The proposed alterations, when passed, will significantly impact the national political landscape. Our founders, in their wisdom and in their political atmosphere, devoid of compulsion, and having considered the interests of their native peoples and their desire to live together in a country where truth and justice reign, where no man is oppressed, and where all citizens live in peace and plenty, adopted the parliamentary system of government. That was the governance of the first system of the First Republic, a period when legislative and executive powers were exercised by the representatives of the people in parliament and in the executive. And by the nature of the system, these representatives were accountable to the people. For 6 years, while it was in operation, the system worked for the country. The collapse of the First Republic and the long stretch of the military rule culminated into the adoption of a new system of government, theoretically fashioned after the presidential system of the United States. Over the years, the imperfections of presidential system of government have become glaring to all. Despite several alterations to the Constitution to address the shortcomings of a system that has denied the nation the opportunity of attaining its full potentials, among these imperfections are the high cost of governance, leaving fewer resources for crucial areas like infrastructure, education, and healthcare.
It will be recalled that the country at independence in 1960 was handed the parliamentary system of government by the British, but opted for the American-style presidential system during the return to democracy in 1999 after a long year of military rule. The Nigerian Senate has disclosed plans to make registration of Nigerians compulsory in a bid to address insecurity in the country. Speaking on the outcome of a closed-door meeting between the senators and security chiefs that lasted 9 hours, the Senate Committee Chairman on Media and Publicity, Yemi Adaramodu, said that the plan to make the registration of Nigerians compulsory is aimed at preventing the infiltration of foreign criminals into the country. According to him, senators listened to a presentation by the security chiefs, particularly on efforts they have put in so far to address insecurity. This, he said, led to the passing of a vote of confidence on the security chiefs for what they have been doing. Adaramodu added that the efforts of the security agencies were yielding massive results as many criminals have been eliminated and arrested in the last few days. He said that the upper and lower legislative chambers will continue to offer support with a view to stem the menace of insecurity. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, Minister of Police Affairs, Ibrahim Gaidam, and Minister of Interior, Olubumi Tunji-Ojo, attended the meeting with the senators. The Nigerian Senate has announced members of the Constitution Amendment Committee to be chaired by the Deputy Senate President, Jibril Barau, with the Senate leader, Bamidele Opeyemi, as the Vice Chairman. Making the announcement, the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, said that the 1999 Constitution needs a major review. National Assembly correspondent Rotimi Adeoye reports.
Agitation for the review of the 1999 Constitution is a recurring topic both in the media space and the social media. This conversation is mostly welcome due to the challenges faced by Nigerians. It is, however, important to agree to a review of the Constitution to fill in some loopholes and amend grey areas. Senate President Senator Godswill Akpabio charged the Deputy Senate President to invite speakers of state houses of assembly for an interaction before the beginning of the review of the Constitution. The Constitution Amendment Committee is made up of 43 senators, 37 from each state of the Federation, including the FCT, and another 6 representing the geopolitical zones of the country.
The committee will be inaugurated on Tuesday so that they can start functioning immediately. So all the motions and resolutions pertaining to constitutional amendment that have been brought to the Senate since last year will now be channeled straight to that committee. If you have your ideas, I have my ideas, you bring forward so that we can do a good job. And then Deputy Senate President, you also invite speakers of all the state assemblies for interaction with the Senate President before we go into the major issues of presenting the different memoirs.
The Senate Review Committee, through inputs from stakeholders, will identify relevant sections of the Constitution to be amended and give answers to contemporary national issues. From the National Assembly, Abuja, Rotimi Adeoye, ATN News.
Nigeria's security chiefs have promised to increase the level of security surveillance with the territorial borders of the country. The Chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Publicity, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, while speaking to journalists after 9 hours of interaction with the security chiefs, said the use of the National Identification Number and Bank Verification Number for identifying and apprehending criminals was sacrosanct. Correspondent Rotimi Adeoye reports.
The security chiefs who appeared before the Senate were Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, Chief of Air Staff, and the Chief of Defense Staff. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and the Minister of Interior, Olubumi Ojo, were also present. According to the Chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Publicity, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, said the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of Economy, Olawale Edun, who was also present at the meeting, was to assist in giving swift financial intervention to procurement of urgent and needed equipment for security agencies.
Are seriously manned, and then we have very qualified personnel with equipment to be in our borders. So that's why the Minister for Interior was invited. So, and that is the job of the immigration. And so we got that assurance. We should come together and then plan together. So where we think we can come in. So, and they have told us where we can come in, and then we have assured them where we can come in. Where legislation is necessary, we do. Then the Ministry of Finance, represented by the Finance Minister, was there. So where they can come in, that is the release of funds to ensure that any gadget that is needed is given to them, on time. So those are the things that we discussed.
As part of the resolution reached, Antaramoju also revealed that at a strike of a finger, the identity of a citizen can be ascertained so that no citizens will be able to bear 3 or 4 names with a view to identify and apprehend criminals.
Ways that, yes, when we ask questions from the Interior Minister, and we spoke about how to maybe apprehend criminals within the people, and then we spoke about standardization and the certification of a citizen identity through VIN, BVN, name, and so on and so forth, so that we can put all together. And then, so it means that at a strike of a finger, you can get the identity of a citizen.
Rotimi Adewuyi, ATN News, Abuja.
The federal government has asked the international police to place 3 Nigerians on the watch list over alleged forgery. It was gathered that the suspects, a staff member of Central Bank of Nigeria, Odo Ocheme, and 2 other persons were declared wanted for allegedly forging the signature of former President Muhammadu Buhari to steal $6.2 million in cash from the Apex Bank. Ocheme was accused of plotting and forging documents in Buhari's name to steal $6.230 million from central bank coffers, along with Adamu and Imam Abubakar. It was stated in a letter that was signed by Eloho Okpoziakpo, Deputy Commissioner of Police and Head of Operations, Office of the Special Investigator. The following documents were attached: the data page of Odo Ocheme's Nigerian international passport, properly certified with true copies of the warrants and the court's order to that effect. The federal government has also called on governors elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party to give Nigerians an explanation on how they spend the increased allocations on their people. The call was made in a statement by Muhammad Idris, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, who also said that the government is running effectively and can pay all its bills while maintaining a healthy trade balance with trading partners worldwide. Speaking on Atlantic Television Open Conversation, a public affairs analyst, Israel Daniel, stated that asking the governors to give an account of how they spend the increased allocation on the people will only make the governors hide and shy away from the truth.
States in Nigeria, and a section of it, the governors came out to ask you to look at what is happening in Nigeria, increase whatever you're doing and the rest of it. And now you turn back to ask them, the money I gave to you as allocation, give me account on how you made use of it. 10 Nigerians, how you made use of it. What were you expecting from them? If you're asking that question, that every governor should give account to his state, the allocation have increased. Specifically, this is how much we pay your states. What are they using it for? It's obtainable. It's okay. We see it as not as you are countering them because they pointed out some things that are wrong.
So you think it's a case of shutting them down?
Yes, what he has done now is so that they will not talk again. If they want to talk, those that have misused their own will not want to be seen.
The federal government has made a U-turn on its earlier statement indicating that the United Kingdom lawyers are allowed to participate and practice in Nigeria. Nigerian Ministry for Trade and Investment, Doris Uzoka Anile, in a statement highlighted the UK-trained lawyers can practice in Nigeria following an enhanced trade and investment partnership signed by Nigeria and the UK on Tuesday. However, after fierce criticisms, particularly by the Nigerian Bar Association, Uzoka Anite retracted her earlier statement. The minister explained that Nigeria does not have a mutual recognition agreement with the UK and made no commitment under the MOU or elsewhere to allow UK licensed lawyers to practice in Nigeria. Recall that the NBA president, Yakubu Maikiu, had condemned the purported agreement in a statement on Tuesday, stating that the statement credited to the minister was ridiculous, unpatriotic, and uninformed. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, says Nigeria cannot continue to subsidize electricity, adding that the nation must begin to move towards a cost-effective tariff model, as the country is currently indebted to the tune of 1.3 trillion naira to generating companies and $1.3 billion owed gas companies. Adelabu addressed a press conference in Abuja on Wednesday, said only 450 billion naira was budgeted for subsidy this year, but the ministry needs over 2 trillion naira for subsidy. He said state governments will now be allowed to generate power independently to supply power to their states. On the grid that has collapsed for about 6 times between December 2023 and now, he said this was caused by the shortage of gas, aging machines in the grid value chain, low capacity to evacuate generated power, and the destruction of power stations in some parts of the northeast geopolitical zone of the country. He said that the Transmission Company of Nigeria has over 100 abandoned projects due to the variations on contract figures as a result of fluctuations of the forex. Hence, the company will not award any new contracts till all such projects are completed. The minister also said over 50 billion naira has been earmarked in the 2024 budget to build mini-grids to supply power to remote areas. He said electricity distribution companies should sit up, otherwise anyone found wanting will have his license withdrawn. The minister also said he had reached out to the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, to help provide security for power infrastructure. Following the bilateral visit of the United States Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, who met with President Bola Tinubu in Abuja on Tuesday, Nigerians have expressed mixed reactions. And according to this, Nigerians, President Tinubu must take full advantage of this visit to ensure the country benefits, especially in sectors that need immediate attention. Atlantic Television Network reporter in Kaduna has details in this report. And this is where we wrap it up on this edition of Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network in the city of Port Harcourt. But you can stay connected with us on our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic TV Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X, formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net, and watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. I am Raymond Kenimbata, and thank you for watching.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. You human trafficker.
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but